How does a designer go from amateur to professional? We've all seen these award-winning designs and been inspired. But how do you become the first one creating such stuff? It's all about taste and judgment, right? That's what this video is all about. First, we'll break down how to approach each design project so you design with purpose and never regret any decisions of how to structure navigation that users instinctively understand, how to build the right website layouts that guide attention instead of distracting it, and how to use hierarchy to create flow and clarity. We'll also look at how typography shapes perceptions and readability, and how to use color and imagery to precisely communicate meaning, emotion, and brand identity. Let's dive right in. Chapter 1 is refining purpose. Most beginners just rush through this first part, but professionals spend 30 to 50% of their time here. First, we need to balance user intent and business goals. Ask yourself, what is this person trying to do when they land here? Is it to buy, read, sign up, or something else? Then ask, how fast can they do that? How obvious is the path? This is the user intent. Now flip the lens. What's the business trying to get from the user? It might be a purchase, a form submission, demo request, or something else. That's the business outcome. Now your goal is to create a design that satisfies both of these. For example, let's say your site is for a SaaS platform. The user wants them to understand the product, while the business wants them to sign up for a free trial. Your job is to design a home page that satisfies both. You can actually map this with a simple 2-column doc. Column A, what the user wants. Column B, what the business wants from them. And if something doesn't align with both, rework it or cut it. Take Stripe for example. Their home page doesn't just explain the product. It walks you down a smooth ramp. Benefits, integrations, docs, pricing. Each scroll is intentional, easing both the developer and conversion into the same funnel through the proof, explanation, trust, and ease. Next, we need to prioritize elements. After defining the goal like we just did, then it should echo in every decision that you make. Think about Airbnb. Their homepage doesn't waste time. Big search bar, beautiful imagery, location-based recommendations. Why? Because 99% of users land there to search for a place. So the entire layout bends towards the single interaction. To get such clarity in your designs, you need to say no to clients. A quick tip pros use is to prototype with just headlines and buttons first. If your flow makes sense with only those, everything else is enhancement, not a crutch. Chapter 2 is navigation and user flow. Navigation is not a menu. It's a map for your website. If you get this right, your users move through the site effortlessly, almost instinctively. Navigation is also where most sites fail. So let's break down how to build intuitive navigation and smart user flow step by step. Number 1, firstly, visibly and legibility. These are two different things. Visibility means stick with traditional placement. Top of the page, left line or center. On mobile, sure, use a hamburger, but make sure the label is obvious and the menu that opens is easy to scan. This is not the place to innovate. This is the place to be predictable, fast, and helpful. Legibility means don't design menus like folders on a hard drive. You need to group content in a way that matches how people think. Two important frameworks that will help you do this. First is progressive disclosure, which means revealing more detail as the user goes deeper, but never exposing so much that the screen turns into a labyrinth. Now the second framework is Hicks' law, which means that every additional tier you add demands more mental overhead for the user. Advanced designers often create a content clutter map before even touching a prototype. Use a site outline tool like Octopus to early on. It lets you cluster content visually before the design starts. Look at Stripe. The navigation uses progressive disclosure, but it never overwhelms. Financial products are grouped into payments, revenue, and identity, not technical labels. That's content design before interface design. Secondly, design for access, not exploration. To achieve a good user flow, you need quick orientation, effortless movement, and zero hesitation. Let's start with how to create orientation. Users don't always land on your homepage directly. Most reach here from a blog post, a search result, or a campaign landing page. That's why you need things like breadcrumbs, sticky headers, clear active states. These small cues reduce friction and create orientation. The second is effortless movement. Users should feel like every step is a natural continuation of the last. That's what good user flow really is. It's not about pages, it's about fluidity. So how do you build that? Let's say someone's reading a product feature page. Don't make them scroll all the way back up to find the book or demo button. Keep the action sticky, visible, easy to access. Or say someone's finished reading your blog, show them related posts, models for quick tour previews. It's about anticipating the user's next move and making it effortless to take it. Lastly, let's talk about minimizing hesitation. Here's something you've definitely seen. A piece of text that looks like a label but is actually a link. These are what we call invisible doors. Dropbox avoids invisible doors by giving every CTA a visual echo. Hover animations, icon nudges, clear hierarchy, it trains the user what's interactive and what isn't. Chapter 3 is layout and visual hierarchy. Let's get something straight. Layout and visual hierarchy are not just about what looks good. They're about controlling the user experience. Every margin, every heading, every cart spacing decision are silent instructions to the user. If you don't want to think deeper about how these affect user flow, you'll create noise and end up with a website that might look good but doesn't get conversions. First, with hierarchy, a common mistake is trying to make everything important. You need to decide what's the most important thing on this page. Is it the product, the form, the feature list? Now make that thing the loudest in the room through size, placement, contrast, or white space. Then figure out what's the next in line. And the next, that's primary, secondary, and tertiary hierarchy. Contrast is about creating relationships. Think of a landing page where the headline is huge and bold, the subtext is smaller and lighter, and the button is bright and easy to spot. You've created a clear reading path: headline, explanation, and action. Second is alignment. This isn't about symmetry, it's about visual weight. Let's say you have a large product photo on the left. On the right, don't just drop a tiny paragraph and call it a day. Give the text enough presence to visually counterbalance the image. There are different types of balance too, like symmetrical, asymmetrical, or even radial. Consistent balance and alignment builds trust. A great example is how Apple aligns everything, from text blocks to product images, even down to the pixel. You may not consciously notice it, but it makes the site feel polished, premium, and calm. Third is grouping and repetition. Things that are close together are perceived as being related. It's guest-tired psychology. If you have a heading, a paragraph, and a button, those three elements form a unit. Don't space them 100 pixels apart or sandwich other elements in between. Keep them light, giving them breathing room before the next group starts. Designers often get bored and try to reinvent the wheel on every page. Make the user feel like everything just works. But consistency is important. Look at Basecamp's site. Their cards, testimonials, and headers all follow the same system. Spacing, font size, color, alignment. You feel like you know how to read the site even before you scroll. Chapter 4 is typography. If your layout is your stage, typography is your voice. It's tone, volume, rhythm, and clarity. And just like in real life, the wrong tone can ruin your message. Let's break this down. Number 1, choose fonts that fit the brand. It's not about finding the trendiest font or setting everything to 12 pixels gray Helvetica. Every font choice you make says something. A serif font might feel classic or refined. A rounded sans serif might feel friendly and casual. On the other hand, a premium European chocolate brand might go for a sharp italic serif in the headline and a grotesque sans serif for the body, elegant and timeless. But a luxury skincare brand and a mass market one might both use sans serifs. So how do you make these choices? These are the 25 tried and tested fonts that most designers use. You should pick 2 complementary fonts for your site and use different font weights to bring contrast to your site. Here are 30 font pairs as an example. Use combos like Inter plus Fred Text for tech sites, SewsWorks plus GT America for startups, Ricoletta and Mandrope for bold, modern D2C brands. These pairs are battle tested across dozens of high-performing designs. You can also install a Google Chrome extension like this, then go on a website and find out the fonts being used. Next, legibility is everything. You want to avoid low contrast combinations like grey on white, tiny body text, and long line lengths that forces users to swivel their heads from left to right like they're watching a tennis match. Don't layer text over busy images unless you're adding a dark overlay or using a bold contrasting font. And don't assume your beautiful, expensive typeface will work at 12 pixels on mobile. It won't. Number 3, using typesetting and font hierarchy. Typesetting is how that fonts live and breathe on a page. Let's talk line length. Keep it somewhere between 50 to 75 characters per line. That's the sweet spot for reading without strain. Line height, it should give the text room to breathe, usually around 1.4 to 1.6x the font size for body copy. Then there's alignment. Most Western language websites should use left-aligned text. Don't make your H1 just slightly larger than your body text. Create clear visual separation. Use ratios like 1.25x or 1.5x increments to create a rhythm. Apple's market pages often use 1.618x the golden ratio to scale their type. That subtle math makes the visual rhythm feel right even when you can't articulate why. Look at how good websites use scaling in type. The headline grabs your attention, the subheading gives you context, and the body copy invites you to read. Even within cards or content blocks, you can create hierarchy, a bold title, a lighter description, and a smaller link or CTA. If your layout is minimalist with lots of space, your type should mirror that with refined, spacious typesetting. If your layout is dense and modular, your type should be clearer, compact, and purposeful. Also, your type shouldn't just fill space, it should respect it. Don't stretch lines just to balance a grid. Don't let paragraphs float without a clear anchor. Try this. Drop your layout into grayscale and squint. Can you still see the type rhythm? If not, your hierarchy isn't strong enough. You're leaning too much on color and not enough on layout and scale. Chapter 5 is color and imagery. We're not talking vague, make your colors pop, and use AI images nonsense. We're talking about how to use color and imagery like a weapon, shaping perception, directing emotion, and reinforcing your message. Create design isn't just seen, it's felt, and this is where that begins. Use color strategically, not decoratively. Use the 60-30-10 formula. Pick 3 colors for your design that you will use in these ratios. 60% is the base color, that is your backgrounds, etc., for which a neutral color is usually the best. 30% is your primary color for text and information, and 10% is the accent color you want to use to draw their attention, like to a call to action button or links. Here's a simple text. Look at your site in grayscale. If the structure still makes sense, if you can still identify headings, CTAs, and sections, you've likely used the color in support of hierarchy, not as a substitute for it. So always use the WCAG contrast guidelines as a baseline. Text should have a contrast ratio of at least 4:5:1 against its background. Large text can get away with 3:1. Avoid color-on-color combos that vibrate or blur, like red on blue or yellow on white. Next, let's talk imagery. This is where most sites fail. Not because they don't use imagery, but because they use it like decoration instead of communication. Let's say you're designing for a startup that makes premium gin. You could show a product shot on a white background, fine, functional. But now imagine a photo of the gin bottle nested in a tree, surrounded by lemons and herbs, with soft Southwest France light casting warm shadows. That image doesn't just show the product, it speaks to the lifestyle, the place, the flavor, and the feeling. That's what good imagery does. It extends the brand without saying a word. Now here's the best tips to get imagery right in a lightning round. Consistency in tone, cohesive in style, placement and layering. Look at how Webflow's homepage stages its visuals. They don't just drop images into rectangles. They layer mock-ups that flow with the typography, wrap around the grid, and peek through with parallax. The best imagery feels like it belongs inside the layout, not slapped on top of it. Test this. Blur your screen. If your eyes are pulled to the right place, CTA, message, then visual, your layering is working. If not, rework the flow. Professional designers also test their imagery at different screen sizes and compression levels. Visual disconnection is when the image does not match the typography, layout, or mood of the site. To avoid this, audit your entire image set. Ask, do these all feel like they belong to the same world? If not, adjust them or remove the weak ones entirely. You need to create visual depth using layering, foreground or background dynamics, or overlays. Try using semi-transparent overlays on hero images to enhance contrast and readability. Floating illustrations or ingredient callouts that move slightly on scroll parallax effects, or Z-index layering that gives sections a tactile feel. Finally, don't show information, stage it like a set designer. Even something as simple as placing an image half inside a section with text wrapping around it can add sophistication when done intentionally. Click here if you want to triple your site speed in just 1 minute. Trust me, you're gonna love it. Click here and I'll see you there.